Hi all, Chris Mystery Cleaning, Clean Wheels on the Far Coast. So today I wanted to talk a bit about organising your round and avoiding taking on, shall we say, time-wasting customers. That's the nice name that I call them. I'll call them something else when you're not watching, but there we have it. So apologies for the light. It is that time and I am working off my rather dodgy camera at the minute, so if you'd like to just bear with me, that'd be great. Okay, so organising the round. So when I very first started, it was something to, window cleaning was something that I did on the side alongside other things. Now, I didn't tend to work weekends or Saturdays, which I was quite lucky. So I had a set couple of days that I could operate from. And I broke the rota down into weeks. So, for example, week 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I decided I was going to operate a 4-weekly rota. That would mean that on average, each customer would receive 13 cleans a year rather than 12. Some people like having their windows done monthly. The only problem is that there's no particular set day. So I put them on a 4-weekly rota so that each customer could be done on the same day every 4 weeks. Excuse me. And there would be little or no confusion. It's a lot easier to say, oh, every 4 weeks on a Monday, every 4 weeks on a Tuesday. And I went out on a Saturday and gathered a couple of houses that way. And, filled up the first Saturday, the second Saturday, the third Saturday, and the fourth Saturday. And at that point, then I sort of started gaining a bit of traction. So when you're at that point, again, so when you're very first starting out, I would not suggest quitting your job straight away. Because honestly, you're just going to harm yourself financially doing that, and cause yourself a load of stress and set yourself a load of boundaries. You will string yourself out, and the customer will see that, and it's not something that you should be showing to your customers. When you approach a customer, you should be confident. You should be, you should be happy in what you're doing. There shouldn't be any signs of undue stress kind of thing. If you are in control of your emotions and in control of, or at least be perceived to be in control of your environment around you, that will reflect onto the customer. That will put them at ease and they say, well, actually, he actually does know what he's talking about, this lad. So I will, give him the time of day. So yeah, anyway, so basically when it comes to sort of the way I operate it, because I end up having a job where I end up working Monday through till Friday, when I transitioned off working other part-time jobs, I end up working Monday through Friday. So I asked my boss at the time if I could drop a couple of hours. Now, again, situations do vary, and I was quite lucky. I had an employer that was prepared to listen to me, taking questions, and at the same time, if he was looking to reduce the cost of hours on the staff, and I thought to myself, well, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe I could sort of use that to my advantage, which I did. So I dropped one day in the week. When I filled up all my Saturdays, I dropped one day in the week, and then I filled that, and then dropped another day in the week, and then I filled that, and then until I'd have ended up after 3 months having a full diary. Okay, so Monday to Friday it was full, and I was taking jobs on left, right, and Chelsea. And like all sort of blossoming businesses in the early days, I took on jobs that I shouldn't have taken on. I took on far too much too quickly, and found myself burning the candle at both ends, doing loads. So when I very first started, I had a trolley system. I decided to buy a trolley system rather than use ladders. I have fallen off ladders in the past and done myself a bit of a mischief. So I didn't think that was a clever way to carry on operating. So I decided to get a trolley. And the trolley used to have a 25-litre drum of water which would be purified on the trolley, and I just drag it behind me with my pole, and I just each 25-litre drum could clean about 3 houses, and you had to change it. So that was enough for me to start off with, and the bonus for that was I could do other things with my van. So at the minute, in previous videos, I've sort of I've alluded to some of the kit that we've got. We've got like 500 litre tanks in the vehicle. These are fixed and fitted into the vehicle. They're not going anywhere. They're bolted down by professionals, and yeah, they're not moving. So it's not like I've taken a big tank of water and ratchet strapped it into the back of my van. I strongly recommend you don't do that for safety reasons, and your insurer, if you have a crash, will sort of they'll not pay out. Okay. So anyway, when it came to organising, I was taking on jobs, things like manning the van. I was taking on car valeting. I've done all sorts. I did sanitizing bins for a time. I did waste removal, things like, if you've got rubble and stuff like that. I used to do waste removal and just chuck it in the back of my van, and the problem is I was becoming extremely busy, and I had jobs everywhere doing everything, and it just became very difficult to organize. So the old saying, if you chase two rabbits you go hungry, was very much the case. I was chasing about 4 or 5 and I decided in the end to settle and to go to have a niche, and my niche was going to be window cleaning, gutter clearing and jet washing. So they're literally the three core services that we offer. Now we do things like deep cleans, etc. on properties. So for example, gutters, fascias, soffits, windows, frames, sills, doors, traps, so it's almost like a mini valet on your house kind of thing. But they all those services operate around a core of the 3 main services that we offer, which is window cleaning, jet washing and gutter clearing. So that's how we decided to go. I've known other people who started out similar to me, actually, rather than going for window cleaning, etc., have gone for car valeting because they see that there's more money in that. Well, that's fine, that's their decision. But it wasn't for me. I mean, in all honesty, I stopped doing car valeting because I was bloody awful at it, and I couldn't look myself in the face and say that's a good job, that. So I decided it wasn't for me, and I backed away from that. So when it comes to organising the rounds, when I was on my own and I didn't have any staff, what I used to do was I used to book window cleaning, my regular slots, Monday through till Friday, and if I had any gutter clearing jobs or when I started getting big jobs like schools and colleges, care homes and stuff like that, I would leave those to a Saturday, and the reason that I did that was gave me a bit of breathing room on the actual rota, and in the short term it meant me working 6 days a week, earning really, really good money, and that was in the building phase of the business. So as that was building, I was taking on more work, getting my name around, getting my logo seen, and this is the other thing as well. I encourage anybody, if they from day one or from very early on, I would encourage you to have your van liveried. I have been spotted a number of times by random people and stopped to go, oh, you're Estuary Cleaning, or you've seen your van around, blah blah. So it does get noticed, even though you think it might not do, it does. And for me, I had my van parked on my driveway at the time, and a person another self-employed business owner who ran a local business network, got in touch with me via the decals on my van, noticed that I had a professional looking vehicle, and in his mind, when he talked, and I said to him, he says, well, why did you sort of get in touch, kind of thing? And he was like, well, we have a professional looking vehicle, you've got a phone number on there, you've got an online presence and all that sort of stuff, so you came across as quite the reputable business. So it does work. So I would strongly encourage that. I'll leave a link in the description below as well about where I got my vehicle done up. A place called Autographics around the corner from me. It cost I think it was around £700 to have my van liveried, but it's more than paid for itself. More than paid for itself. Yeah, so there's quite a lot to take in there. In this one, when it comes to organising again, I would have a structure in place whereby, so when an inquiry comes in for us, the way it tends to work is either Facebook or the Facebook or the website. So in the early days, I didn't have a website. I relied a lot on Facebook. And there is an app on Android, I believe. I think it's also on Apple as well, on iOS. If you download Pages Manager, which is almost like a bolt-on to Facebook, it will enable you to create a business page through Facebook. Then what you do is essentially invite all your friends to like it, form a small sort of community on there, and then get yourself on to local chat pages. So things like where I live now, there's Thornton and Cleveley's chat, there is Bispam chat, there is Living St Anne's chat, and these are local people discussing amongst themselves, issues of the day and stuff like that. But you do get people asking, oh, does anyone know a reliable window cleaner? Does anyone know a reliable plumber? Does anyone know a reliable builder? And obviously, these groups can have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,000+ people in them, and it doesn't take long for someone to. All it takes is one of those people to be one of your customers to say, well, actually, I know a really good guy. His name's Chris or his name's Bob or blah, and they'll just refer you on, and then that inquiry will come in, for example, through Facebook, and all I ask is for a phone number. I ask for their full postal address, including postcode, their first and last names, and then what I do is I can use the address, cut and paste it into Google Street Maps. And what that will do is it will show me where the house is, what it looks like from the front, because the Google car will go past these houses. And then what I will do is I will take that image and I'll go, right, okay, well, that's X amount for the front. And all I have to ask then is ask the customer what's at the back. Is there a conservatory? Is there an extension? Is there an orangery? Is there a glass roof? Is there, I don't know, what's the access like and all this sort of stuff. And then from that, I would extrapolate a price, give them the price. I would explain also, and this is quite standard now that what we do, I would explain that we come in all weathers, safety permitting, that they'll get a text the night before and after each clean, that there'll be they can receive an invoice by text, and a few other little T's and C's, like for example what I've started doing with my customers years ago, and it's honest to God, it pays dividends, because it does. I'll first of all explain what it is. So what I do is I turn around to the customer and I say, you will receive a text the night before. If having received the text, when we get there, if the access is blocked or locked, we will clean the windows that we can reach, and then we will charge you, and input block capitals, the full price. Now what that does is two things. One, it sends a message to your customer that you are serious about what you're doing, and that, oh, we didn't do that window, so it's, the fact is, I will take time out of my day to text the customer and say, we'll be there at this, on this day to clean your windows. Please leave the gate unlocked, because we don't climb gates because they'll damage, etc. So then what we'll do is we tell them we're coming on that day. They leave the gate open. If they don't leave the gate open, it's not like we've not reminded them. It's their fault. Okay. Now, if on the other hand, I for whatever reason don't text them, or the app doesn't has a bit of a funny and it doesn't send them the details, and they don't know that we're coming, and we get there and the gate's locked, well, that's my fault, and I'll take a disc. I'll just charge them for the front, because that's my fault. So it's taking responsibility and having a bit of ownership, and explain to the customer that, look, if you don't leave your gate open when I've asked you to leave it open, and we can't get to your windows, well, that's not my fault. We'll charge the full price. And the sorts of customers that you'll get are better customers, because they're the ones that will go, roger that, no dramas. The ones that are time wasters will go, oh, well, I'm not having that, blah, blah, and they'll make excuses and stuff like that. And yeah, so that's that's how I would organise the round. Just build it up gradually, and try and ensure that you're out on the ground as much as possible. Be as visible as you can be, and create the Facebook page on Pages Manager. So I'll leave a couple of links in the description, and so you can use those as like little resources, whatever, and go from there. So I hope that was insightful, and you got some good use out of that. I'm going to leave my email in the description, and if there are any questions that you don't feel that you want to post on the comment section, by all means feel free to fire me in some questions. I'm happy to answer as honest-ish as I can. And I hope you're all having a good day and staying safe, and I shall see you when I shall see you. Take care now.